Rick has been able to pay off his royalties for the year to Troy and is starting to feel better about this year's haul. Despite beginning his season 2 weeks later than everyone else, he is proud to say that he and his team have been moving along very well and have been working at full capacity. They have their hopper feeder in place and working through their pay dirt steadily. His goal of 1,000 gold ounces for the season is more urgent than ever now that he has a clear path ahead of him with no debts hanging over his head. The failure of last year cannot be repeated, as he failed to meet his goal and barely broke even. Rick plans to put some gold in the safe as the gold prices have shot way up.
This is great. I mean, 206 ounces,
Man,
that's awesome. If we just keep going deeper, and that's just going to get better.
That's the next challenge, right?
Yeah.
He needs to turn things around this year or find a new career after past failures. Rick commiserates with his other crew members, saying that the past year felt like they were moving dirt around for fun rather than mining for gold. The past 4 weeks have been spent making their way through the cheap cut, where the gold is all found on the highest layer of dirt, practically sparkling in the sun. As they reflect on their mistakes and their work this season, they identify their biggest problem for this year. Their newest recruit, Mark, informs them that they are almost out of pay dirt from the cheap cut. This means that they have no pay to feed the wash plant, Rocky, and no gold to collect. Even the new guy knows that with only a day's worth of cheap cut pay left, they are going to have to look for new ground to sluice. An experienced gold miner, Rick knew that this was a problem that would come up sooner rather than later. So, Rick has been looking for a new area to mine. This pressing need for more pay dirt has fed the drive to explore the area and find new ground to mine. This urgency and success in the cheap cut has renewed Rick's passion for gold mining. He believes that his many years of experience have given him an edge and skill for this kind of gold and pay dirt prospecting. As Rick stands surveying the land, he points out piles of dirt that he feels could have the best gold content they've ever encountered. He points out a corner in the area that he has high hopes for, noting how all the dirt is piled up together. But why does he feel that way? Well, 20,000 years ago, on Lower Duncan Creek, a glacier once pushed up a mound of rock and dirt, known as a moraine, to the edge of the cheap cut. Rick believes that this blockage has trapped gold all up against it over the centuries. All gold that has washed down from the motherlode. If his theory is right, he has stumbled across a buildup of gold that has been growing for ages. Rick gathers the dirt and rock from where he believes the glacier created the moraine and puts it in his panning bowl. His belief is that this could be the best gold they found all year, and with the price of gold only increasing, he would make some of the largest profit margins in recent memory. He carefully pans the dirt in the nearby water, and he determines that he needs to see at least 15 to 20 distinct colors in the pan to make the area a viable location. Extending the cut is a decision that could make or break his career at this point.
You pull that big rock out of there?
I did, 2 of them, building Stonehenge here.
Where you start hitting those big boulders like that, like you're in the right spot.
The Ness crew at Duncan Creek is busy extending the cheap cut, trying to determine whether Rick's hunch is correct. Mark keeps adding to a stockpile of pay dirt that is meant to keep the wash plant running. They cannot afford to shut down. However, a problem arises when they lose water pressure over at the wash plant. This is extremely frustrating as it feels as though the team is being delayed and set back every single day, unable to catch up. The leak in the water pump is quickly spotted and tells them they have to shut down operations for the day until it is patched. All of this downtime is a huge red flag, so they decide against fixing the leak and instead replacing the water pump entirely. Carl brings in the backup, and they hurry to install it with the help of a crane. The replacement won't start up, causing their hopes to come crashing down. Rick Ness needs to calculate whether his decision to extend the cheap cut will pay off. Before getting to the numbers, Rick makes small talk and eases the tension in the room. Part of being a leader is tending to one's subordinates, and that's something Rick doesn't forget. Finally, they get down to business, and Rick pulls out the scale. To reach their gold weight, Rick would need an ounce of gold per 100 yards from this extension of the cheap cut. They have run over 7,000 yards, and Rick needs at least 70 ounces from this venture. The gold is carefully poured onto the scale, and it measures well over 70 ounces, reaching 82.37 ounces. This is a fantastic showing, especially because gold prices are up at a massive $1,750 an ounce. This means that Rick has mined $144,000 worth of gold from the cheap cut extension. His hunch, combined with his knowledge of the history and geography of Alaska, has paid off in a big way. This is Rick's biggest haul of the season. Everyone is left amazed, as they have never seen such a good cleanup with their own eyes before. Rick reflects on how they never came anywhere close to this last year. It seems that his theory about the moraine was proven correct, and he found an amazing cache of gold.
At this point, it's only numbers like that that we need. They kind of got to keep going up, so.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot more of it out here, right, on this property, so.
A few more hauls like this, and their season will go very smoothly. It also eases concerns that their late start in the season would irrevocably destroy their chances of meeting their gold ounce goal. It's barely September, and the weather has turned colder, covering the land in snow and slowing down operations for the Ness crew. This is a warning that the end of the season is around the corner, despite everyone believing they should still be experiencing autumn weather. Rick is upset, as he believes his wash plant, Rocky, should still be running at this time in the season. However, after helping him bring in his biggest gold ounce haul in the season only a week ago, his wash plant, Rocky, has shut down unexpectedly. The weather will not allow for water to run through the machine without freezing and disrupting the equipment. This didn't stop the team, but the more they tried to push the wash plant, the slower it would go. The longer and longer lengths of time it takes to use the wash plant end up costing them more time and money than just shutting it off. Rick comes to the hard decision that Rocky is done for the year, and now all efforts have to be focused on their second wash plant, Monster Red. While Rick understands that striking out on his own is risky, he thought the rewards would be worth it. A lot of people doubted he would be able to survive on his own like that, but so far, Rick has been able to prove them wrong. However, now with one wash plant down and the weather getting colder by the day, he is starting to have doubts. This is only his third season on his own after leaving the Klondike and finding the big gold in the mountains. Rick has invested a $250,000 deposit to purchase his claims, but the end of the mining season is creeping up, and he still needs 550 ounces to reach his target of 2,000 ounces of gold. Over the walkie-talkies, Rick gets a message asking him to check out a situation the crew is having with water. Rick races down to a massive pond of water where his worker is meant to be smoothing out the area. He tells him that they are going to need to get a pump to remove the water and give them access to the pay dirt below. After digging for over 2 months, the Ness crew are 170 feet down in the Raleigh Valley.
We finally got our hopper feeder in, and I paid off Troy his royalties for the year, so that feels really good.
This valley is completely filled with water, making it impossible for their equipment to traverse. The high-grade pay in the Raleigh Valley is something that the entire Ness crew is relying on to save this season and career. The 6 feet of water is a huge obstacle that will take time and money to remove. The pump is working, but the valley has only flooded out again, even with the work put into clearing it, setting them back even further than before. Rick's pump is only 6 inches and is no match against the estimated 6,000 gallons of groundwater currently flooding the valley. The water is leaking into the cut every moment. They realize that their plan is ineffectual and that the water pump doesn't work correctly either. Rick remembers that the Taylors have a 10-inch water pump sitting somewhere in their own equipment stash, and the only issue Rick can recall it having is that it has not been used for a couple of years. Their next step is to plumb up the hoses and place the equipment into position. Rick is worried since he knows they don't have much time left, and they need to get to the pay dirt as quickly as possible. The only thing standing in the way is the aider. Chris, a member of the Ness crew, explains that now that they have the 10-inch water pump, they will hopefully get this water cleared and the land dried out soon. Rick managed to drill the hose into place and tells the crew to fire it up. To everyone's relief, the pump turns on. Powered by a giant 465 horsepower dozer engine, the pump is said to be able to empty an Olympic swimming pool in just 70 minutes. This is around 660,000 gallons of water in over an hour. Rick points out how they can see the water being sucked out from feet away, and the hose spits out gallons of water in moments. This is a huge improvement to the wimpy 6-inch water pump that only made the flooding worse. Rick believes that when they arrive in the morning, the valley will be ready to be sluiced and the dirt relocated. The ability to shift their attention from the water and back to the gold is a good sign that they are making progress with this season's gold ounce goal.
Oh, I don't know why I'm so nervous. It's the first one of the year.
You seem a little giddy.
I am. Well, all right, I can't talk anymore. I gotta go.
Let's make it rain, boys.
Woo!
The next day, Rick greets his crew in the break room, in higher spirits than before. They have lost 2 days fighting the flooding in the Raleigh Valley, all while trying to avoid letting the recent cold weather from freezing them out of the rest of the season. Shutting down operations would be disastrous at this time. It is crucial that the Raleigh Valley delivers them the gold they need. Rick is still reflecting on where things went wrong, and he regrets that the first water pump did not work. as it would have saved them a lot of time that was wasted in bringing in the second pump and having to install it. They are grateful to have found the second pump, but now Rick reveals that it came with a price tag. Rick spoke to Troy, and according to him, he did not mind lending the water pump as long as Rick was willing to purchase it outright. With no other choice left to him, Rick had to pay $40,000 for the 10-inch water pump. This sets them back even more, as they now have to calculate the amount of gold they need to pay back the expense of the second water pump. Nobody is too upset about this news, as they needed the pump desperately, and they would not have been able to find another in time to dry out the Rally Valley. Rick pulls out a water bottle filled with gold and says that he believes by the weight of it that they have made quite a bit of money, and that their hard work and purchase of the pump will pay out. Then he takes out another water bottle filled with gold that he says is worth $100,000. The scale is set up, and they start pouring in the gold. To hit the 2,000 gold ounce weight goal for this season, they will need to mine a whopping 550 ounces of gold before they pack up for the year. The scale slowly fills up with gold, and the final weight comes out to 106.9 ounces of gold. Rick then adds the 106 plus 100 gold in the other bottle to a total of 206,000 gold ounces mined. When calculated, this would give the gold a total of $370,000 combined. After this count, Rick only needs 300 ounces of gold to reach his ultimate season goal. If the Ness crew is able to protect Monster Red and keep it running even in this foul weather,
No secret, Rick spent a lot of time and money chasing after big nuggets last year on a hunch. I hope this isn't last year all over again. I don't need that.
they may be able to save the season after all. This is a huge accomplishment, given that they were delayed for days. Rick is sure that if they just keep mining deeper into the Rally Valley, they will soon reach their goal with even more gold to spare. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed Rick Ness's biggest gold hauls and his comeback into the gold mining industry. Let us know in the comments what your favorite part was. If you want to keep up to date with the latest Gold Rush content, make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to turn notifications on so you never miss an update.
If you have watched Gold Rush on the Discovery Channel, the name Rick Ness does not sound new to you. He is one of the series' primary cast members, having appeared since Season 3. The cast earns a substantial compensation per episode, and you're probably curious about Rick Ness's net worth in 2024. So how rich is Rick Ness? From daring gold mining exploits to industrial highs and lows, join us on this intriguing journey into the wealth and adventures of the man himself, Rick Ness. Rick Ness, a major protagonist in the Gold Rush saga, is more than just a miner. He's a tenacious explorer with a desire to pursue dreams beneath the Earth's surface. Rick, known for his unyielding determination, rose to prominence after taking over as mine supervisor. His journey has been a roller coaster of triumphs, losses, and golden moments. Beyond the gold-laden landscapes, Rick Ness emerges as a man worth investigating, both for his mining prowess and the irrepressible spirit that drives his pursuit of riches. Rick joined the cast of Gold Rush in Season 3 and instantly became a fan favorite due to his hard work and dedication. In addition to his compensation from the show, Rick has worked as a gold mine operator. He previously had a successful singing career and has pursued business projects and investments, all of which have contributed to his financial success. Rick Ness, who was born in Michigan on March 5, 1981, had a diverse background before earning a name for himself in gold mining. Growing up, he learned the ropes by working for his father's construction company, where he gained valuable mechanical skills. Rick intended to pursue a football career after high school, but a head injury changed his plans. He then traveled to Milwaukee to explore the music scene. Rick joined the 357 string band as a bassist and toured the world, exhibiting his musical abilities. During this time, he met Parker Schnabel, which would have a significant impact on his future in gold mining. Rick's early life and career highlights his versatility as he moved from construction to music and then gold mine. His different experiences provided him with talents that proved useful in his subsequent endeavors. The sudden transition from football to music not only demonstrated his perseverance, but also resulted in a fateful meeting with Parker Schnabel, which altered the course of his professional career. So, what contributed to his prominence? Rick Ness's adventure on Gold Rush began in Season 3, when he started as an operator on the rock truck and excavator. Parker Schnabel was impressed by his hard work ethic and commitment to the task, and he promoted him to foreman. Rick, as foreman, was responsible for overseeing the Indian River operation. His leadership abilities and broad understanding of the gold mining sector were clear, gaining him respect from both his peers and the show's audience. Despite his triumphs, Rick suffered a setback in his gold rush career when he made a costly mistake that resulted in a $50,000 income loss for Parker. However, Rick's drive to make atonement shined through. In Season 9, he made a brave decision to start his own mining crew. This choice constituted a watershed moment for Rick, putting him on track to break show records. With his freshly created staff, he enjoyed extraordinary success, exceeding expectations, and even setting a new record for the most gold mined by a mine leader in his first year. Rick Ness's climb to notoriety demonstrates his tenacity, determination, and flexibility in the face of challenges. The voyage demonstrates not just his professional development in the mining business, but also his ability to learn from mistakes and turn them into opportunities for success. Rick Ness has made an unmistakable impact on Gold Rush, not only as a good miner, but also as a leader capable of navigating the unpredictable world of gold mining. His narrative serves as an inspiration, demonstrating that even in the harsh environment of the mining sector, perseverance and a willingness to take risks may lead to extraordinary results. Rick Ness's career demonstrates the importance of embracing change and grabbing unexpected possibilities, which ultimately contributed to his success in the gold mining sector. Now let's look at the rise of Rick Ness's mining crew. Rick Ness's foray into gold mining was a watershed moment in his life. When he made the courageous decision to start his own mining company, he handpicked a team of talented miners who shared his unshakable desire to strike gold. Their voyage was not easy. They endured several challenges and failures, but their combined commitment remained unwavering. Rick's leadership abilities were evident as he guided his group through the hurdles of mining operations. His knowledge not only guided them, but also contributed to significant gold production, quickly establishing them as a force to be reckoned with in the mining industry. The rewards of their labor were not overlooked. The mining world and viewers of the popular show Gold Rush began to acknowledge Rick and his crew's outstanding accomplishments. This newfound success not only solidified Rick's position in the gold mining sector, but also opened the door to intriguing future prospects and collaborations. The emergence of Rick Ness's mining crew demonstrates endurance and determination in the unpredictable world of gold mining. The challenges described in Gold Rush demonstrate the tenacity required to traverse this difficult industry successfully. Rick's presence on the show and the rise of his mining crew have cemented his status as a notable figure, eliciting respect from viewers anxious for the next chapter in his adventure. Rick and his crew continue to make their mark, and the future appears hopeful. The suspense among fans is intense, eager to see what happens next for Rick Ness and his loyal miners. The story of Rick's ascension in the gold mining business is more than just finding gold. It is a story of overcoming hurdles, resilience, and the enduring spirit that defines mining success. Let's have a look at his net worth and earnings breakdown. Rick Ness, a well-known figure in the Gold Rush series, has made a sizable fortune from his participation in the reality TV show and his gold mining ventures. His net worth, estimated at $3 million as of 2023, is the product of a variety of revenue streams, the majority of which stem from his involvement on Gold Rush. Rick Ness's revenues from the reality TV show have been a significant boost to his financial success. Rick, a prominent part of the cast, reportedly earns $25,000 per episode.
40, 60, 70, 110, 120.
Eventually, they will discover gold valued at $240,000. Consequently, what strategies did they employ to overcome their obstacles? How did they manage to function amidst severe weather conditions? As we investigate alongside Parker, he discovers gold valued at $240,000 on Tony Beat's claim. How it all began. In a brief period of time, Parker Schnabel and his team have never before mined more ground than they do now, following the completion of a deal with Tony Beats. Prior to the conclusion of the season, he must complete the task, and spring is considered the ideal time to set things up. They have resolved to exert maximum effort in the pursuit of completing it prior to the autumn, in the hopes of attaining a favorable result. Although the team harbors skepticism regarding their capacity to complete the project within the allotted timeframe, they maintain an optimistic outlook. Nona Lovelace affirms that this year's sprint is a complete sprint, as the anticipated completion date is in the spring. A member of the team, Tatiana Costa, exclaims that the quantity of snowfall they encountered was indescribable, as each surface was blanketed in dense snow that demanded additional exertion to clear. She then transports the frozen overburden to the waste pile in order to make room for additional labor. Following 4 days of operations proceeding as scheduled and equipment functioning flawlessly, the team avidly awaits the verdict of the novel Tony Beats claim, not anticipating any adverse consequences. Following the completion of 4 days of machine operation, the team becomes eagerly anticipating the outcome of the new Tony Beats claim, cognizant of the effort they have invested. As a consequence, the total weight of the gold realized was 137.8, which is approximately $240,000. The group expresses gratitude to Tony Beats and recognizes the possibility of a hectic season. They ponder the difficulties, the readiness of the apparatus, and the promising beginning to the season. Parker concluded by expressing gratitude to the entire team for returning for a second season, for their contributions to the success of the project, for the team's inspection of the used equipment, and for putting in so much effort to ensure the project's success. Gold Rush elevated the profile of the youthful and prosperous gold miner Parker Schnabel to prominence. He was born in Haines, Alaska, on July 22, 1994, into a family with a significant heritage in the gold mining industry. Parker became a member of Gold Rush during its second season at the tender age of 17. Despite his youth, he exhibited remarkable prowess in the field of gold extraction and a diligent work ethic. Parker achieved the distinction of becoming the youngest mining foreman in the history of the Klondike during his time on the program. Since assuming control of the Big Nugget mine from his patriarch, John Schnabel, his mining operations have grown. Parker has confronted a multitude of obstacles, encompassing apparatus failures, severe weather circumstances, and the demands of managing a prosperous mining enterprise. Despite earning millions of dollars annually, he does not retain the entire amount for personal use. He employs a team, and while their precise remuneration remains undisclosed, it is probable that they amass a considerable fortune when they unearth substantial quantities of gold over the course of a season. Parker abandoned his studies in favor of excavating, with the expectation of uncovering not only a hidden treasure but also an entire way of living. A substantial quantity of gold was discovered by Parker Schnabel and his team in the second season of Gold Rush. They obtained 34 ounces worth a total of $55,000. Parker was profoundly affected by this discovery, which motivated him to continue with the program and mining thereafter. Parker Schnabel estimated that the largest fragment of gold he had ever discovered weighed no more than a quarter ounce and was valued at between $400 and $500. He elaborated that it is uncommon to discover gems of that size and that the gold industry has undergone significant transformations since his grandfather began working in it in the 1980s. Parker Schnabel is determined to improve this time around. A depth of approximately 40 feet must be dug by him and his crew in order to discover the gold. But it is expensive. Thousands of dollars must be added to the $15 million that he has already invested in the property. Further, this serves as the initial stage. This season, Parker is confronted with a critical choice that has the potential to alter the course of his mining career. Parker Schnabel aims to surpass his previous record of discovering 300 ounces of gold with a value of $9 million. He is now setting an even more ambitious goal, obtaining 6,000 ounces from the Indian River. Confronting the difficulties of the Klondike, he is resolute and perseverant. A great deal of determination is anticipated from him throughout this thrilling voyage. Audiences have witnessed Parker's leadership, determination, and capacity to make difficult decisions under duress throughout the course of the series. His reputation stems from the fact that he challenges himself and his crew to accomplish lofty objectives. Parker Schnabel, notwithstanding the fluctuations, has emerged as one of the most accomplished and widely recognized individuals in the film Gold Rush. Gold Rush featured a diverse workforce of crew members who were integral to Parker Schnabel's mining operations. Every member made a contribution that aligned with the initial plan for the project's success. What are your reflections on this particular occurrence of Parker's conquest? Additionally, for more thrilling adventures, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Continue to be tuned for more. A lot of people work hard behind the scenes to keep Parker Schnabel's Yukon mining business running, but fans want to know how much Parker's crew members get paid while they risk their lives and limbs churning pay dirt 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the harsh Klondike. Which workers make almost $500,000 a year running Parker's risky business? Come along on this fun trip as we look closely at how much Schnabel's group makes. Gold Rush is a hit show on the Discovery Channel that keeps the attention on young mining mogul Parker Schnabel every week. Millions of people follow his brave journey to get gold from the harsh Klondike Desert. Fans watch Parker lead the way in each important mining milestone, but they don't notice the daily risks and sacrifices of his entire staff. Parker was very open on social media when he talked about what his hardworking team gets to take home after months of digging. His openness was a welcome gift for all the people who want to know how much these regular workers on his salary make. Parker says that the new workers on his Yukon mine crew put in 75 hours a week for weeks during the short summer mining season. In general, they make about 34 Canadian dollars an hour. Paying by the hour might sound like a pretty cool job, but Parker's claim, which is based on being physically and mentally drained to the limit, says it's about CAD 65,000 over 25 weeks, or about 6 months, because of the hard Yukon winter that stops digging. Taxes and living costs at camp are taken into account, and new crew members' take-home pay gets closer and closer to CAD 40,000. It was a very hard job. Parker also said that teams work 12-hour shifts that are very strictly scheduled and start working together at 7:00 a.m. until 7:00 at night, when the summer sun in Alaska lets it. As the short season grows older and the days get shorter, shift changes begin at 8:00 a.m. to 7:00 p.m. Parker gives his best workers some nice bonuses, even though the starting pay may not seem like much for the amount of work that is expected. The mine's huge fleet of rock trucks are some of Schnabel's most valuable assets, and the machine workers who are in charge of them can make more than $40,000 a year in Canadian dollars. These skilled miners drive huge Caterpillar trucks that can carry up to 50 tons of ore from the fields to the wash plant. Their never-ending runs are key to beating Parker's high 4,000-ounce, $6 million season gold goal. Even though it's hard on their bodies and takes a lot of time, workers who are put in charge of these important tasks could make 6 figures. Thanks to Parker's openness, fans now know more about how much Parker's crew makes. However, it's important to remember that the numbers he shared are medians and averages, not exact amounts. Pay for entry-level jobs changes depending on experience, bonuses are kept secret, and the amounts given could be in Canadian dollars instead of US dollars. As we've already talked about, Schnabel's new crew members work 75-hour weeks their first season. In just 5 days, that's more than twice as many hours as a normal 40-hour office job. And when mine is busy and there is a lot of daylight, those long shifts last from 7 a.m. until just before midnight. There are millions of dollars at stake every season, and sitting idle cuts into profits too much. And when your boss is a taskmaster like Parker Schnabel, you can't skip steps or take too long to do something. Speaking of the boss, let's see how much does Parker Schnabel make. Discussing Parker Schnabel's financial journey, it's intriguing to delve into his early years at Big Nugget, his grandfather's mining firm. From a young age, he displayed an uncanny aptitude for heavy machinery, operating equipment even before reaching pedal height. The question arises, did he commence earning a substantial income at such a tender age, and how has his net worth evolved over the years? Born on July 22, 1994, in Haines, Alaska, Parker Schnabel's journey in the mining industry commenced in his grandfather's firm, where he earned his stripes and eventually amassed a net worth of $15 million. His hard work in gold prospecting and mining, coupled with his foray into reality television, has significantly contributed to this impressive figure. The pivotal inquiry remains: what is the extent of his earnings? Parker's earnings from reality TV are notable, with payments per episode ranging from $10,000 to $25,000. For comparison, fellow cast member Jack Hoffman earns approximately $10,000 per episode. Consequently, Parker's annual income is estimated to surpass $1 million, solely from his involvement in the show Gold Rush. However, this leads to a crucial consideration. How does his income from gold findings impact his overall wealth? Having appeared in 330 episodes of Gold Rush by 2023, Parker Schnabel left his family mine in Season 4, extracting a remarkable 28 kg, 60 pounds of gold in a year. Additionally, his participation in and production of spin-offs like Gold Rush The Dirt and Gold Rush Parker's Trail further bolstered his financial standing. By the age of 24, he had mined gold valued at over $16 million. Beyond the glamorous figures, it's essential to account for expenses and salaries associated with his mining ventures. While the exact amount of his share remains undisclosed, making assumptions based on his considerable expenditures offers a perspective. Parker Schnabel's diverse car collection, ranging from modern marvels like the Ford F-150 Raptor and Chevrolet Corvette Stingray, to vintage classics such as a 1967 Ford Mustang GT500 and a 1970 Chevrolet C10 pickup truck, exemplifies his taste for the finer things. In addition to his mining pursuits, Schnabel has successfully ventured into entrepreneurship. He owns a mining company and has established a line of gold mining equipment. A published author as well, he penned 2 books, namely Gold Rush: My Story and Parker Schnabel's Gold Rush Alaska, providing insights into his experiences as a gold miner. This multifaceted approach to wealth creation highlights Parker Schnabel's business acumen beyond the glitz of reality television. Because Schnabel is so open, his work shows us what might be coming next. The most important question is whether the people who want to work there can handle the long hours, sore feet, and boring jobs that are needed to not only find gold specks, but also fill pockets with coins. Now let's take a look at some of Parker's thrilling finds. Parker, 27, says he mined nearly 7,000 ounces of gold worth $12.8 million with days left in his season. He advised putting as much gold in the box as quickly as possible and making as much money as possible to fund a second procedure next year. Prior to the Yukon winter freezing them out, Parker needed to collect nearly 350 ounces of gold to beat his record. Parker relied on factory manager Tyson Lee and top technician and informant Mitch. He confirmed they spent more than last year. He had spent $5.4 million going to the bottom of Mud Mountain and hadn't broken even, but he was on a roll. If enough were there, Parker claimed he could win big. Parker noted that the remaining drilling was the best, therefore, there remained optimism. Mitch and operator Damon Brown were ready to remove the last gold-rich pay dirt. Mitch stated they have to deliver the last road payment to Big Red and draw the dewatering pump to finish Mud Mountain Cut. Considering their inventory before they started, Damon said Mud Mountain had 1 hopper. Mitch praised Damon's work and advised shutting down the factory. Mitch whooped with joy when they shut down Big Red at Mud Mountain for the last time. Mitch stated they would know the gold totals once Chris completed the final cleanup and see how much they could obtain. Parker told his team hours after the sluices stopped that they would get little gold in a season with many bills. Parker inquired what they wanted to do to solve it. Parker sought another rapid score before winter, still short of last year's 7,500-ounce total. Parker reminded them that when Mitch tore up the road at the airfield in Zone 3, they still felt the land below was fine. There was still possibility. Mitch's risk to mine ground under a road at the airfield for 281.50 ounces paid off earlier in the season. Parker said he will relocate a wash plant to that part of road near the river to start setting things up. Mitch could start that and prepare his staff, right? Mitch agreed they could. Parker quipped that he would clean gold again since there was a lot. Parker's 5M gold haul. Nona, a crew member, accidentally ruined a Big Red pipeline. The system suffered considerable damage. Nona called for aid. The dozer had snagged and torn the pipeline in half, releasing everything from the wash facility. It split the pipeline in 2 and also destroyed the wash plant manifold. As bypass, this provided plant water to the pre-wash. This was considered the worst possible situation at the time. She was gone when it took this pipe off. A 90-degree manifold linked the pump pipeline to the plant. A 90-degree manifold connecting the bypass and wash plant water supply was damaged. Mitch had to disconnect the bypass that controlled water flow, strip the manifold hoses, and reattach them to the plant. This crude repair may increase water pressure and flush gold from the sluice. After cutting off the damaged portion, they fused the pipe back together, saying it was like magic. Next, Mitch bent a flexible hose from the water supply to the wash plant. Mitch confirmed that they would need a flat 8-inch section to reach their water line without a bypass. Mitch relied on the pump for water pressure. The water flow resumed. After 4 hours, $30,000, and lost gold, they resumed pay dirt. Big Red's pipeline disaster was not new. Parker thought Nona was punishing herself hard for causing it. Parker rushed to get all the gold from Big Red before winter shut him down. However, he was in his D11 dozer to address a more important matter. Parker said it was difficult because they were behind on gold and wanted to get it out of the ground. But if they didn't undertake reclamation, they wouldn't have a future. The staff turned down the pump again due to another issue. A dirt-filled plant was described. From the distribution box, water and pay dirt were uniformly distributed throughout 4 sluice lines. Justin overloaded the facility to boost output, obstructing the distribution box and backing up Big Red. They then attempted system repair. Parker was close to breaking last year's 7,504 ounce mark when the season ended. Parker required 420 ounces of gold each week from his wash plants to keep on pace. Gold counting and weighing began. First gold weight, 115.4 ounces. Parker invested nearly $5 million in Mud Mountain and required 900 ounces to benefit from the cut. The following weight yielded 368.45 ounces. That may be the series' finest gold discovery. Lucifer plant manager Tyson Lee and foreman Mitch attended the season's first double gold weigh. Parker told Ken that Big Red was put up well by the team. Parker said Mitch and Brennan usually work together, which was excellent, but Tyson stepped up. Parker noted that this was their first cleaning on Ken's land, which was thrilling. Ken said he hadn't seen gold in 40 years. Parker opened the week 900 ounces below last season's total. Both plants had to average 235 ounces to equal last season. Parker commanded someone to yell numbers and poured out gold to weigh. First gold weight, 208.75 ounces. For the second batch from Big Red, the gold weight measured 263.8 ounces and was worth nearly $475,000. Parker stated Big Red had gotten him back up to speed. Thanks for watching. While you're still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more mind-blowing videos.